For the first time ever, the Bloodline formed an allegiance with another faction, so we'll see what that's about. We'll also check out what's going on with Finn Balor, the Judgment Day, and more. Let's start things off with the Bloodline. Roman Reigns stunned the world when he walked out of WrestleMania 39 still as the WWE undisputed Universal Champion. But even with that big win in Roman's pocket, things haven't been smooth sailing for the Bloodline at all. And that's mostly due to the fact that the Usos didn't handle their business and lost their tag team titles to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So the Usos losing their titles and how embarrassing that was for the family is basically the elephant in the room right now for the Bloodline. Roman's relationship with the Usos was already a bit rocky even before they lost their tag team titles. You had Jey walking out on Roman for several weeks. You had Jimmy raising his voice towards Roman a few times. Jey not saying that he loved Roman back, and just all these other little things that have been stacking up in recent memory. So things were already rough between them to begin with, but the Usos losing their titles really made things even worse and was the cherry on top. The Usos did help and assist Roman Reigns during the Night 2 main event of WrestleMania, but ever since that night, we haven't seen Roman interact with the Usos at all, and he's been avoiding them at all costs. Roman has been having Paul Heyman send them to the jet early, lie to them, manipulate them, keep them out of the family business, and have been just trying to really distance himself from the Usos in every way possible. Roman Reigns isn't fully ready to dispose of the Usos quite yet, but like Paul Heyman said, Roman is losing his patience with the Usos very quickly. If the Usos are unsuccessful in their attempt to win back the undisputed tag team titles, it'll be really interesting to see what Roman does next to them, because we're to assume that he'll be quite furious that the Usos embarrassed the family on now two big occasions, the WrestleMania Night 1 main event and the title rematch on Smackdown. So if the Usos pick up back-to-back losses with the gold on the line, Roman will probably lose his mind. But let's take a look to the latest developments to the Bloodline story with the April 17th edition of Raw. The Bloodline opens up Raw, but they're quickly interrupted by the Judgment Day. Now Jimmy and Jey are completely lost and out of the loop. They don't know what's going on, and they're wondering if the Judgment Day is here to pick up a fight against the Bloodline. But Paul Heyman gets on the mic and clears everything up. Paul Heyman shakes Damian Priest's hand and reveals that Roman Reigns and the Judgment Day had come to an agreement to work with each other and join forces for a short amount of time. And we see that members from both sides don't really seem to agree with what's going on. When Paul Heyman and Damian Priest shook hands, you can see Finn Balor looking at the handshake with the biggest amount of disgust on his face. Finn's reaction to the handshake is in reference to Finn's 2021 feud with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Finn Balor took on Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules 2021, even brought out the Demon to face Roman, but he was still unsuccessful in his attempt to dethrone Roman. So it's nice to see that even 2 years later, that feud has not been forgotten about and is still affecting current day storylines. Finn Balor is not absolutely thrilled and jumping at the idea of joining forces with the Bloodline. Even though Finn Balor is now technically on the same side as the Bloodline in terms of being heel, he's still holding a grudge against them for everything he went through because of them in 2021. So it's a very small, subtle thing that's always very nice to see, because it shows that prior storylines and feuds actually matter. It would have been extremely strange if Finn Balor just had a wide smile on his face and instantly accepted the Bloodline's offer. That would have been weird considering their past, so it was nice to see a little touch to bring that back up. It also makes you wonder if a decision like the Judgment Day joining forces with the Bloodline will come back up down the line to cause some tension between the Judgment Day members. When Paul Heyman walked up to make this deal official, he shook Damian Priest's hand, and that's when we saw that look on Finn's face. So what if that look on Finn's face wasn't only about his past with the Bloodline, What if Finn had that look on his face because he was wondering why Paul Heyman shook Priest's hand and not his own? Ever since Edge left the group, there hasn't been no real clear-cut leader of the Judgment Day. Fans originally thought that Finn Balor would rise and step into that Edge role, but that really hasn't been the case. There's no real leader in the Judgment Day, they're all pretty much equal. Some fans even wondered if Rhea Ripley could be seen as the leader. She's the one with the most momentum and the championship title, so could we look at her as the leader? But now we see that Damian Priest was the one that shook Paul Heyman's hand. Is that a sign that Damian Priest calls the shots for the Judgment Day? There's so many subtle little things there that could play into a bigger role much down the line for the Judgment Day. So keep an eye on Finn Balor because this may be the first step with him possibly growing some frustration with how certain things are done within the Judgment Day. But back to the Bloodline side of things. Paul Heyman says that this allegiance was formed in order for each group to take care of each other's issue. The Bloodline promises to take care of Bad Bunny, as long as the Judgment Day takes care of Kevin, Sami, and Riddle. Jey instantly freaks out towards Paul Heyman and tells him that the Usos had no idea at all about this deal. Another big giveaway about how Roman is truly leaving the Usos out of his business. Solo Sikoa was the only one that received some intel about this deal beforehand. So that right there continues the storyline of Solo Sikoa becoming Roman's right hand and getting close to him, while the Usos continue to be left on the outside looking in for all of the Bloodline's plans. And it looks like Roman made this move in agreement to team up with the Judgment Day because the Bloodline just couldn't get the job done. The Usos lost their titles at WrestleMania and have been continuing to give the upper hand to Sami, Kevin, and Riddle week after week. So Roman went behind the Usos' back to hire some extra manpower. And this has to be embarrassing on some level for Roman Reigns because he has always handled his business and gotten things done with the Bloodline members. But now he's going around hiring more manpower outside of the family. That's a bad sign and a bad look for Roman Reigns in the Bloodline, and he knows that. You already know that it's going to be something that he brings to the Usos' attention when he finally does meet with them again. He's most definitely going to bring up the embarrassment of needing to join forces with other groups because the Usos couldn't handle their business. You just know that's going to be a big line he throws in their faces sometime down the line because hiring the Judgment Day definitely wasn't Roman's first option. But he's just so sick and tired of the Usos and their recent failures that he had to do this deal and have it done behind their backs as well. So the tension is there. Roman absolutely despises the Usos right now, doesn't want to see them, talk to them, or include them in any plans for the moment. So we gotta see how that story turns out and what will come from this. Will the Usos actually patch up their issues with Roman Reigns? Or will this current situation between them only continue to get worse? Definitely something to keep an eye on because they're continuing to tease this implosion for the Bloodline, especially between Roman Reigns and the Usos. So we'll have to keep a very close eye on that. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.